At my sister's wedding, I was given a neon wristband that said I wasn't allowed in the reception hall. I'm Andrew, 32, and I genuinely thought being the responsible brother meant something. My sister Megan and I weren't super close, but we weren't enemies either. When she got engaged last spring, I was actually excited for her. 3 months before the wedding, Megan called me stressed about costs. The venue was more expensive than expected, and her fiancé Scott's startup wasn't paying him yet. That's when I offered to photograph the entire wedding for free. I'm a professional wedding photographer. My packages start at $4,000, but I told Megan I'd handle everything. Ceremony, reception, family portraits, the works. She literally cried on the phone and said I was saving their entire wedding. But as the wedding approached, things started feeling weird. Megan kept mentioning her photography team in conversations. When I'd ask about details, she'd get vague and say we'd figure it out later. Then came the rehearsal dinner. I showed up with my cameras, ready to capture some candid moments. That's when I met Justin, some two-year-old kid with a basic DSLR hanging around his neck like a tourist. "Oh, hey," Megan said awkwardly. "Justin's going to be helping with photos too," Scott jumped in. "Yeah, Justin did my cousin's wedding last month. Really captured the vibe, you know. Very authentic, not all posed and corporate." The dig was obvious. My work is polished and professional, which apparently meant corporate to Scott. "Actually, we were thinking Justin could take the lead," Megan said. "You know, since he really gets our aesthetic." I felt like I'd been punched. "Megan, we talked about this. I'm doing your wedding photography, right? But more like backup in case Justin misses something." "Backup? I'm a professional photographer being demoted to backup for some kid with a camera from Best Buy." Wedding day arrives. I show up with $15,000 worth of equipment. The venue coordinator hands me a bright orange wristband. "What's this for?" I ask. "Orange is ceremony only. Reception access is limited to essential vendors on the approved list." I'm confused. I'm the photographer and the bride's brother. She checks her clipboard, says, "Here, you're listed as backup photography. Justin Morrison is the primary photographer with full venue access." I look around. Justin's already at the altar with his amateur setup, wearing a silver VIP band. Even the florist has better access than me. That's when I hear Megan's maid of honor talking to another bridesmaid. "The orange bands are for non-essential people. You know, just in case the real photographer doesn't show up." They both laugh. I'm standing 3 feet away with thousands of dollars in professional equipment being called non-essential. I watched Justin fumbling with his camera settings, shooting in full auto mode, missing obvious shots. He doesn't know how to work with the venue lighting. That's when I made my decision. I started packing up my gear, all of it. Megan noticed immediately and came rushing over in her getting ready robe. "Andrew, what are you doing? Where are you going?" I held up my orange wristband. "Non-essential people don't need to be here. But what if Justin messes up? What if his camera breaks?" I shrugged, continuing to pack. "Guess you should have thought of that before making me back up." "Andrew, please. I need you here." Scott appeared. "Dude, don't be dramatic. We just wanted a different style." "Different style?" "Justin's shooting everything in auto mode. Half his shots are going to be blurry." I loaded my car while wedding guests started arriving. Megan stood in the parking lot in her robe, mascara running, begging me to stay. "Please, Andrew. I'm sorry. I messed up." "Yeah, you did." I packed everything while Megan stood there sobbing. Just as I slammed my trunk, the ceremony music started playing inside. Megan panicked, realizing she had 10 minutes to get dressed and walk down the aisle. She sprinted toward the venue, leaving me alone in the parking lot. That's when Scott walked out, completely calm, and told me he was actually relieved I left because he'd already planned to announce during the reception that Megan and I weren't actually siblings, that I was adopted, and our parents never bothered telling me, and something else that would change everything. I stood there frozen, my hand still on my car door, processing what Scott just said. The way he said it too, like he was discussing the weather or something, just casual, like he hadn't just dropped a bomb that was supposed to destroy my entire identity. "What did you just say?" I managed to get out. Scott leaned against the brick wall of the venue, checking his phone while he talked. "Yeah, so, I was gonna make a toast at the reception. You know, really special moment. Was planning to tell everyone how Megan's real family is finally complete now that she's marrying into mine." He looked up at me with this smirk. "Would have been awkward if you were there, honestly." My hands started shaking. "You're lying." "Am I?" He tilted his head. "Ask your mom. Or should I say, the woman who adopted you. Actually, don't bother. She'll just lie about it. She's good at that." I wanted to punch him. I wanted to grab him by his stupid groomsman vest and slam him against that wall, but my legs felt like concrete. "Here's the thing, Andrew," Scott continued, putting his phone away and standing up straight. "Megan and we've been talking. She agrees that you've been a little too involved in our lives, always offering to help, always trying to be the perfect brother. It's kind of pathetic when you think about it." He stepped closer. "You're not her brother. You never were. And after today, you won't be family at all." The ceremony music swelled inside. I could hear the processional starting. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. Because, Scott said, adjusting his tie, I wanted to see your face when you realized you have nowhere to go. No real family. No role in this wedding. Nothing. He started walking backward toward the venue entrance. Enjoy your drive home, Andrew, or whatever your real name is. He disappeared inside, and I heard the guests stand up as the bridal march began. I sat in my car for a solid 10 minutes, just staring at the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. Text from my mom. Why aren't you inside? Ceremony starting. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to ask her right then. Wanted to demand the truth, but something stopped me. If Scott was lying, I'd look insane confronting her at Megan's wedding. If he wasn't lying, I wasn't ready for that conversation in a text message. I drove home in complete silence. Didn't turn on the radio, didn't call anyone, just drove. When I got to my apartment, I went straight to my office and pulled out every family photo I had. Me as a baby with my parents. Me and Megan as kids. Every Christmas, every birthday, every vacation. I looked different. I'd never really thought about it before, but I looked different. My parents both had dark hair and dark eyes. Megan too. I was blonde, blue-eyed. They always joked I got it from some distant relative, some great-great-grandfather or whatever, but now I was seeing it differently. I stayed up until past midnight, going through everything. Birth certificate. Said I was born at Mercy Hospital downtown, but I'd been to Mercy Hospital. Megan was born there too, and they had her baby footprints framed in my parents' house. They didn't have mine. At 12:47 a.m., I got in my car and drove to my parents' house. All the lights were off. They were probably still at the reception, celebrating Megan's big day. I used my key to let myself in. Their bedroom was on the second floor. I'd been in there 1,000 times, but this time felt different. I was looking for something specific. I checked my mom's closet first, going through boxes on the top shelf, old tax returns, some jewelry, letters from my grandmother. Then I found it. A small, fireproof safe I'd never noticed before, pushed way back behind winter coats. It had a combination lock. I tried Megan's birthday. Nothing. Tried my birthday. Nothing. Then, I don't know why, I tried my parents' anniversary. It clicked open. Inside were documents. Legal documents. And right on top was an adoption decree dated 32 years ago. My name, Andrew James Morrison, with amended birth certificate stamped across the top. My biological mother's name was listed as Patricia Henley, father unknown. I heard the garage door opening downstairs. They were home. I shoved everything back in the safe, locked it, and put it back exactly where I found it. By the time my parents walked into the house, I was sitting at their kitchen table with every light in the room turned on. My mom screamed when she saw me. Andrew, Jesus, you scared me half to death. What are you doing here? My dad followed her in, still in his suit from the wedding. Why aren't you at the reception? I left, I said. My voice sounded weird, flat. Had an interesting conversation with Scott in the parking lot. My mom's face went white. She actually grabbed the counter to steady herself. What did he say? She whispered. That I'm adopted, that you never told me, that he was planning to announce it at the reception to humiliate me. I looked straight at her. Is it true? My dad stepped forward. Andrew, let us explain. Is it true? My mom sunk into a chair across from me, and I saw tears starting. Yes, she said. You're adopted. We were going to tell you. We never found the right time. I'm 32 years old. I know. You had 32 years to find the right time. My dad sat down next to my mom, reaching for her hand. We tried a few times when you were younger, but you were so happy, and we didn't want to disrupt that. Then more time passed, and it felt like it would just hurt you to know. Hurt me? Finding out from Scott at Megan's wedding was supposed to hurt less? My mom was full on crying now. Scott knows? How does Scott know? You tell me, I said, because he knew enough to weaponize it. My dad's jaw clenched. That little, is the rest of it true? I interrupted. What Scott said about you having an affair? I looked at my mom. Did you have an affair with Scott's father? My mom's head snapped up. What? No. Andrew, no. That's not where would he get that from? So that part's a lie? Yes. She wiped her eyes. I never had an affair with anyone. Your father and I have been faithful to each other for 34 years. Then where did Scott get that story? My dad stood up, pacing. He's making it up. He has to be. He's trying to manipulate you, trying to drive a wedge between you and this family. Why? I asked. Why would he do that? My mom shook her head. I don't know. We barely know him. Megan's only been dating him for a year and a half. I laughed, but there was nothing funny about it. Well, he's your son-in-law now. You're stuck with him. The three of us sat there in silence. The kitchen clock ticked loudly on the wall. Finally, my mom spoke. Your biological mother, Patricia, she was my college roommate. She got pregnant at 19, and the father wanted nothing to do with the baby. She was terrified, had no support system. I told her we'd help her. She looked at me. Your father and I had been trying for 5 years to have a baby. We'd had 3 miscarriages. When Patricia offered to let us adopt you, it felt like a miracle. Where is she now? She died, my mom said quietly. Ovarian cancer when you were 7. She'd moved to Oregon, got married, had 2 other children. I sent her updates about you, photos. She wanted to know you were happy, but she didn't want to disrupt your life. I have half siblings. This day just kept getting worse. Had, my dad corrected. One died in a car accident in college. The other one, I don't know. Patricia's husband didn't want anything to do with us after she passed. I stood up. My chair scraped loudly against the floor. I need to go. Andrew, please. My mom reached for me, but I stepped back. I just need time to process this. Don't let Scott do this, my dad said. Don't let him destroy our family. I looked at both of them. Scott didn't destroy our family. You did that when you lied to me for 32 years. I left before they could respond. My phone started blowing up before I even got to my car. Texts from Megan. Where are you? Scott said you left? Andrew, answer me. Did you really just abandon my wedding because you didn't get your way? I almost threw my phone into the street. Instead, I turned it off completely and drove home. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and 89 text messages. Most from Megan, some from my mom, a few from relatives asking if I was okay. I ignored all of them and made coffee. That's when I remembered something. Justin, the photographer. The kid would have the raw files from the wedding by now. I grabbed my laptop and found Justin's website, which was, honestly, pretty amateur. His contact form asked for email and phone number. I created a fake email address, something generic like weddingvenuecoord@gmail.com, and sent him a message. Hi Justin, this is Michael from Riverside Gardens Venue. We're compiling all vendor files for our records and potential insurance purposes. Can you send over all raw wedding files from the Scott-Megan wedding yesterday? We need them backed up on our servers per our new policy. Please send within 24 hours. Thanks. I hit send and waited. 4 hours later, Justin replied, Sure thing. Here's the Dropbox link. Hope everything turned out great. I couldn't believe that actually worked. The kid literally just sent over every photo he took without even verifying who I was. No security awareness at all. I downloaded everything. 1,847 photos total, and they were absolutely terrible. I mean, catastrophically bad. At least 60% were out of focus. Another 20% had wrong exposure, either blown out highlights or images so dark you could barely see faces. The composition was all over the place. He'd cut off people's heads in group shots, missed key moments entirely, and somehow managed to get his finger in the corner of about 30 photos. The ceremony shots were the worst. He'd positioned himself in the worst possible spot, shooting directly into the sun during the outdoor vows. Every single photo of Megan and Scott at the altar had them as dark silhouettes with a blown-out sky behind them. You literally couldn't see their faces. The few reception photos he'd managed to take before I guess he gave up were a joke. Flash pointed straight at people's faces, creating harsh shadows and red eye in nearly every shot. The first dance was blurry. The cake cutting was weirdly framed with the cake half cut off. He'd somehow missed the bouquet toss entirely. I sat back in my chair, a smile creeping across my face for the first time in 24 hours. Megan was going to lose her mind when she saw these. Right on cue, my phone rang. Megan, I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again. On the fourth call, I answered. What? Andrew, finally! Where have you been? I've been calling you all day. I've been busy. What do you want? What do I want? What do I want? You walked out on my wedding. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Scott's family kept asking where my brother was, and I had to make up some story about you being sick. Did you tell them I'm not actually your brother? Since that was Scott's plan anyway. Silence. What are you talking about? She finally said, but her voice had changed. She knew. Scott told me everything, Megan, in the parking lot, that I'm adopted, that he was going to announce it at the reception. You knew, and you let him plan that. Andrew, it's not what you think. Did you know or not? More silence. Scott thought it would be funny, she said quietly. Just a joke. He wasn't actually going to... A joke? Making a public announcement that I'm not really part of this family is a joke to you? You're overreacting. I'm overreacting? I laughed. Megan, you demoted me from photographer, gave me a wristband that said I wasn't allowed in your reception, and you knew your husband was planning to humiliate me in front of our entire family. Which part of that should I be calm about? I didn't know he was going to tell you in the parking lot. He was supposed to wait. Oh well, that makes it so much better. She made this frustrated sound. Okay, fine. I'm sorry, okay? Scott went too far. Can we just move past this? The wedding's over, and I'm sure the photos turned out great. Actually, about that, I cut her off. How's Justin working out for you? What? Your authentic photographer, the one who really gets your aesthetic. How are his photos? We haven't seen them yet. He said he needs a few days to edit. He's lying. What? He's lying, Megan. He needs a few days because he has to figure out how to salvage the disaster he created. I've seen the raw files. They're unusable. How have you seen, Andrew? What did you do? Nothing. I just looked. and they're terrible. Out of focus, wrong exposure, missed moments. Your entire wedding is basically undocumented. I could hear her breathing getting faster. You're lying. You're just trying to scare me because you're mad. Check for yourself. Ask him to send you some previews. Unedited, just the raw files. See what he gives you. Andrew. Have a great marriage, Megan. I'm sure it'll be just as authentic as your photos. I hung up. 2 days later, she called me at 11 p.m., sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Andrew, please, you have to help me. The photos are awful. They're so bad. We don't have anything. My wedding is ruined. Please, can you fix them? Can you Photoshop them or something? Please, I'm begging you. I let her cry for a good 30 seconds before I responded. I'll think about it. What? Andrew, please, I said I'll think about it, Megan. I hung up and turned off my phone. For 3 days, I ignored every call, every text, every desperate message. I knew exactly what was happening. Megan was spiraling, realizing that she had no professional photos of her wedding day, exactly what she'd been afraid of. Scott's family was probably asking to see photos. Her friends were asking to see photos, and she had nothing to show them but Justin's blurry, overexposed garbage. It was beautiful. On day 4, I decided to do something I probably shouldn't have done. But honestly, after everything, I didn't really care about taking the high road anymore. I created a private photo album on a website called Photo Critique. It's normally used by professional photographers to get feedback on their work. I uploaded 50 of Justin's worst photos, the ones where you legitimately couldn't tell what was happening, where faces were cut off, where the exposure was so wrong the image was barely visible. Under each photo, I added a professional critique. Improper exposure, subject is underexposed by at least 3 stops, shows lack of understanding of basic metering. Out of focus, shot appears to have been taken in full auto mode with improper focus point selection. Amateur mistake. Poor composition, rule of thirds completely ignored, subject's head is cut off. Background elements are distracting. I went through all 50 photos like this, professionally and thoroughly ripping apart every technical mistake Justin had made. Then I made the album public and sent the link to everyone who'd been at the wedding, Megan's entire bridal party, Scott's family, our extended family, everyone. The subject line of the email was, "This is what happens when you hire authentic over professional." I didn't sign it, didn't need to. They all knew who sent it. My phone started blowing up within an hour, but I'd learned my lesson about answering calls, so I just watched the notifications roll in and ate leftover pizza. The next morning, my mom called, then my dad. Then they both showed up at my apartment. "Andrew, we need to talk," my dad said when I opened the door. I let them in because, honestly, they looked serious enough that I figured they weren't here to lecture me about the photos. My mom sat on my couch, and she looked like she'd been crying again. "Scott's mother called me this morning." "Okay." She was furious. She said Scott convinced Megan to demote you as photographer because he was jealous. I blinked. "What?" She confronted Scott about the photos being terrible, and they got into a huge argument. And during that argument, my mom looked at my dad, who nodded for her to continue. "Scott admitted he convinced Megan to hire Justin instead of you because he was jealous of your success." I sat down. "He was jealous of me?" "Apparently he's been telling Megan all sorts of lies about you for months." My dad said, "He told her you called their wedding tacky, that you called him a loser, none of which you ever said. Why the hell would he do that?" My mom wiped her eyes. "His mother thinks it's because Scott's always felt like a failure. His startup isn't working out, he has massive debt, and you're successful. You own your own business. You're respected in your field. He wanted to prove to himself and to Megan that you weren't really family, that he didn't have to compete with you. That's insane." "I know," my dad said, "but it gets worse. The adoption thing, the story about your mom having an affair, Scott apparently made that up too. He did some digging into our family records somehow, found out you were adopted, and decided to weaponize it. He never had any proof of an affair. He just wanted to hurt you." I felt sick. Megan believed him? "She's starting to see things differently now," my mom said carefully. "Scott's behavior has been getting worse. Since the wedding, he's been controlling, telling her who she can talk to, getting angry when she questions him. She's scared." "Good," I said without thinking. My mom looked hurt. "Andrew, no, I'm sorry, but I don't have a lot of sympathy right now. Megan let her husband plan to publicly humiliate me. She knew I was adopted and she never said anything. She demoted me at my own sister's wedding. I'm supposed to feel bad because now she realizes Scott's a jerk? She kicked him out," my dad said quietly. I looked up. "What?" "2 nights ago. Scott came home drunk, got angry that Megan was upset about the photos and started yelling. A neighbor called the police. When the cops showed up, Megan asked them to escort Scott out. He's staying at his parents' house. Despite everything, I felt a small twist in my gut. Is she okay? Physically, yes, my mom said. Emotionally, she's a mess. She knows she destroyed her relationship with you. She knows the wedding photos are ruined. Her marriage is falling apart before it even really started." We sat in silence for a minute. "She wants to see you," my mom said. "She wants to apologize in person." "Not interested." "Andrew." "Mom, I need you to hear me right now. What Megan did was unforgivable. What you and Dad did by not telling me I was adopted was unforgivable. I'm not just going to accept apologies and move on like nothing happened. I need time. My dad stood up. That's fair. We just wanted you to know the truth about Scott. Thanks. They left, and I sat there thinking about everything. Scott had systematically turned Megan against me because he was jealous. He'd lied about me calling their wedding tacky, about me calling him a loser, probably about a dozen other things I didn't even know about. And Megan had believed him. I pulled up the files Justin had sent me. Among all the terrible reception photos, there were a few decent ceremony shots. I'd actually managed to take some photos before I left. It was pure instinct, honestly. The second I'd arrived at the venue, I'd started shooting. The getting ready photos, Megan in her dress, some candid moments of guests arriving. They were good photos too, professional quality, everything Justin's photos weren't. I spent the next few hours editing them, adjusting the exposure, fixing the colors, cropping them properly. By the time I was done, I had about 40 really beautiful ceremony photos. Megan looking genuinely happy before everything went wrong. My mom helping her with her veil. Our dad tearing up when he saw her in her dress. I saved them all to a USB drive. Then I showed up at Megan and Scott's apartment unannounced. Megan answered the door looking awful, hair in a messy bun, wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt, eyes red from crying. "Andrew," she whispered, "you came." "I'm not here to talk," I said. I handed her the USB drive. "These are the ceremony photos I took before I left. They're edited and ready to print. They're yours." She took the drive with shaking hands. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything. But I do have something else for you. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket and handed it to her. Inside were printed screenshots of text messages. Messages between Scott and Justin, with timestamps from weeks before the wedding. "What is this?" she asked, opening it. Scott's messages to Justin. "Read them." I watched her face as she read. As she saw Scott explicitly telling Justin to make Andrew feel like shit and put him in his place as the fake brother. As she saw Scott promising Justin a bonus if he could make me leave the wedding entirely. Her hands started shaking harder. "He planned this," she said softly. "All of it." "Yeah, he did." She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "Andrew, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I let him manipulate me. I let him turn me against you. You're my brother, and I know," I said, "but I'm not ready to forgive you yet. You made choices, Megan. You chose to believe him over me. You chose to humiliate me at your own wedding. Those were your choices." "I know." She was crying harder now. "I'll do anything to make this right." I shook my head. "There's nothing you can do right now. I just wanted you to have those photos, and I wanted you to know the truth about your husband." I started to walk away, but she grabbed my arm. "Wait, please. Just please tell me we can fix this someday. Tell me I didn't lose my brother forever." I looked at her for a long moment. "I don't know, Megan. I really don't." I left her standing in the doorway, clutching the USB drive and the envelope. When I got to my car, I sat there for a minute before starting it. My phone buzzed. Text from my dad. "Scott just showed up here demanding we fix this with Megan. He's threatening to tell everyone you sabotaged the wedding on purpose unless we make you apologize. What do you want us to do?" I smiled and called him back. "Don't do anything. In fact, if Scott's still there, put me on speaker." "Are you sure?" "Positive." I heard shuffling, then Scott's angry voice in the background. "Who's that? Is that Andrew? Let me talk to him." "Andrew's on speaker," my dad said. "Andrew!" Scott shouted. "You need to fix this right now. You've ruined everything. Megan won't talk to me. My parents are furious, and it's all your fault." "My fault?" I said calmly. "I'm not the one who tried to orchestrate a public humiliation. I'm not the one who lied to my wife about her brother for months. And I'm certainly not the one who hired an incompetent photographer to prove some kind of point. You sabotaged those photos. You must have done something to Justin's camera or... Scott, I have proof. I have all of Justin's raw files, time-stamped, with metadata showing they were all shot in full auto mode with default settings. I also have your text messages to him. All of them." Silence. "If you want to threaten me, go ahead," I continued. "But I'll make sure everyone, and I mean everyone, knows exactly what you did. Every lie you told, every manipulation, every nasty message. I'll post it all online. Your employer, your friends, your professional network, everyone will know." More silence. Then my dad's voice. "Scott just left." "Good," I said. "If he comes back, call the police." 3 days later, I got a call from my mom. "Scott's been arrested." "For what?" "Apparently he got drunk and went to Megan's apartment trying to force his way in. She had a restraining order filed that afternoon. The police took him in." "Is Megan okay?" "She's staying with us for now, Andrew. She's really struggling. She wants to talk to you so badly." "I'm still not ready." "I know. I just wanted you to know she's safe." "Thanks, Mom." I hung up and went back to editing photos for an actual client. Life had to go on, after all. A week passed. Then 2. My parents kept me updated on Megan. She'd filed for divorce, was seeing a therapist. was trying to piece her life back together. Scott had been released on bail but was staying away. His lawyer had apparently advised him not to contact anyone in my family. Then I got a call from my mom. "Andrew, I need to tell you something about Scott." "What now?" His mother contacted me. She found something in Scott's old belongings from college. A journal where he wrote about being jealous of me and your dad, about how we had the perfect family and he wanted that. When he met Megan and found out she had a successful brother, he apparently became obsessed with taking your place. I felt cold. He's insane. His mother thinks he needs serious help. She's trying to get him into therapy. But Andrew, she also told me something else. Scott's father. He was at our wedding. Mine and your dad's. He and Scott's mom were friends of ours back then. Okay? She said Scott found an old photo from our wedding and became convinced that his father and I had some kind of connection. That's where he got the affair story. From literally nothing. Just a photograph of me talking to his father at my own wedding reception. So he built an entire narrative based on a photo? Apparently. His mother is horrified. She's apologized probably 50 times. It's not her fault her son is a psychopath. No, it's not. I sat with that information for a while after hanging up. Scott had seen a photo of my mom talking to his dad at a wedding 34 years ago and decided that meant they'd had an affair. He'd found out I was adopted and decided that meant he could just erase me from the family. He'd systematically manipulated my sister into betraying me because he wanted my place in the family. It was beyond disturbing. 2 more weeks went by. I was editing photos in my office when my doorbell rang. I almost didn't answer, but I looked through the peephole and saw Megan standing there, holding something. I opened the door. "What are you doing here?" "I won't stay long," she said quickly. I wanted to give you this." She handed me a framed photo. It was one I'd taken of her, just before the ceremony, when she was adjusting her veil in a mirror. The natural light from the window had caught her just right, and she looked genuinely, beautifully happy, like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. "This is who I was before Scott," she said quietly. "Before all his lies, before I let him poison everything. You captured that moment, and I wanted you to have it, as a thank you." I looked at the photo, then at her. She looked different, thinner, tired, but somehow more clear-eyed than I'd seen her in months. "Megan, I'm not asking you to forgive me," she interrupted. "I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to say thank you for these photos. Thank you for taking them even after everything. Thank you for giving them to me. You didn't have to do that." "No, I didn't. I also wanted you to know I posted something on social media, a full apology explaining what happened, how Scott manipulated me, how I betrayed you, how you were the professional photographer all along and I was an idiot for letting anyone convince me otherwise. I tagged you in it." I pulled out my phone and checked. Sure enough, there it was. A long, detailed post with the caption, "I owe my brother Andrew the biggest apology." She'd explained everything, how Scott had lied about me, how she'd believed him without question, how she'd humiliated me at her own wedding, how I'd still been kind enough to give her the ceremony photos even though she didn't deserve them. She'd even posted a few of those photos as examples of professional photography versus Justin's amateur work. The post had hundreds of comments, most of them supporting me and condemning Scott. "You didn't have to do this," I said. "Yes, I did. Everyone needed to know the truth about Scott, about what happened, about how amazing you are, and how terrible I was." I looked at the framed photo again. "You're not terrible, Megan. You were manipulated. I should have been stronger. I should have trusted you." We stood there for a moment in my doorway. "I'm also taking time apart from Scott," she continued. "The divorce is moving forward, and I'm going to therapy to figure out why I let someone treat me like that, why I let someone turn me against my own brother." She wiped her eyes. "I don't know if we'll ever be close again, Andrew, but I want you to know I'm trying to be better." I surprised myself by saying, "Maybe we can get coffee sometime. In a few months." Her face lit up. "Really?" "Maybe," I said. "I'm not making promises, but maybe." She nodded, tears streaming down her face now. "Okay, maybe is good. Maybe is more than I deserve." She left, and I brought the framed photo inside. I set it on my desk, right next to my computer monitor where I'd see it every day. The photo of Megan before everything went wrong. A few days later, I blocked Scott's number, changed all my social media settings so he couldn't see anything I posted, made sure he had no way to contact me. And then I went back to work, booking new weddings, editing new photos, building my business like I always had. Life went on. About a month after that, I got a text from Megan. "I just signed the divorce papers. It's final in 60 days. I replied, "I'm proud of you. Thanks, Andrew. That means everything." Then she sent another message. "I know it's way too early to ask this, but would you ever consider photographing a vow renewal ceremony for me? Like, maybe in a year, after I figure out who I am without Scott? I want to have a real ceremony with people I actually love, and I want real photos this time." I stared at that message for a long time. Finally, I typed back, "Ask me again in a year. If you're still in therapy and you're still working on yourself, I'll consider it. Deal. Thank you." Andrew, for everything. 2 weeks later, I framed one of the ceremony photos, the one of Megan and my dad walking down the aisle together, both of them with real, genuine smiles. I mailed it to Megan with a note. This is who you were before he got in your head. Don't forget. She texted me a photo of her crying while holding the frame. I won't. I promise. I looked at all the messages, all the photos, all the evidence of everything that had happened. Then I archived them all and went back to work. My phone buzzed one more time. A text from my mom. Thank you for giving your sister another chance. You're a better person than Scott deserves. I smiled and replied, I'm not doing it for Scott. I'm doing it for the sister I had before Scott existed. We don't deserve you, Andrew. Yeah, you do. We're family. That's what family does. And just like that, things started to feel normal again. Not perfect, not like nothing had happened, but normal enough that I could breathe without feeling angry all the time. Scott tried to text me a few more times from different numbers, but I blocked them all.